Hello YouTubers, good day to you. My name's Brian and I've never been a Jehovah's Witness. I'm not a JW, but I do like talking with them, reaching out to them with the biblical gospel rather than their view of the gospel, the good news. And this is the second in a series that I've started, which is scriptures that Jehovah's Witnesses don't like. And of course they will say they love scriptures, they like them all, but there are some that make them feel uncomfortable. And so this is the second one, and it's based on Genesis 5 and verse 24. I have it here. I'll start back at Genesis 5:22. Then Enoch walked with God 300 years after he became the father of Methuselah, and he became the father of other sons and daughters. You think after 300 years? Verse 23. So all the days of Enoch were 365 years. And then verse 25 of Genesis 5. Verse 24. Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. So that sounds like something different from that he died. This is in a genealogy, and there's man after man listed, and the children they had, and then how old they were when they died. Each one, it'll say he died for each one of these, except for Enoch. Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. That's very different from the usual phrase, he died. However, Watchtower insists that he died. There's even a video where, I think it was David Splain, that's one of the governing body members, where he says he died, and he says it several times, that he died. And I'm not quite sure how they explain this away. There's another enlightening verse related to this, and it's from Hebrews chapter 11, which is the Faith Hall of Fame, that verse after verse saying, by faith so-and-so did this, and the whole list of people who lived by faith, even those in the Old Covenant, from the Hebrew Scriptures. So it talks about Enoch here in Hebrews 11 and verse 5. Let's see what it has to say. Hebrews 11:5. By faith Enoch was taken up so that he would not see death. And then it quotes from the Old Testament, and he was not found because God took him up. And then it adds, for prior to being taken up, he was approved as being pleasing to God. But it says here in Hebrews 11:5, by faith Enoch was taken up so that he did not see death. And then let's have a look at what it says in the Watchtower Bible, the JW Bible, the New World Translation of Hebrews 11, verse 5. It says, by faith Enoch was transferred so as not to see death, and he was nowhere to be found because God had transferred him. Interesting verbiage there, transferred. And I think by translating it that way, transferred, they want to say that somehow this was still death, but the phrase is still there. He was transferred so as not to see death, even in their own translation. So that's interesting. So then, how do they explain that he died? That he did not see death? What does it mean that he did not see death? And if you ask this of a Jehovah's Witness, they might say, I have to research and get back to you. They might try to explain it. They might make up something, or they might have been familiar. Maybe they looked this up in the past, and they might have some kind of explanation for it that really does not explain what Scripture means by saying he did not see death. But whatever the case, it doesn't really matter how they answer. Just leave it with them. And if they say that they need to get back to you, say, okay, good, get back to me, let me know what you find. And then pray that they will think about it, because the point is not to stump the JW. The point is not to win a argument. The point is to get them to think, and maybe even to research, perhaps even to get them to talk to God and say, what's with this? This is bothersome. And pray that this will bother them. Pray that they will ask God to reveal his truth to them. Pray that they will think about it deeply. And that's our purpose, to plant seeds. And as Paul described, I planted, somebody else watered, but God is the one that makes the seeds sprout and grow. So it's up to the Lord to change them. And just pray that God will change their heart, because that really truly is the greatest miracle, is the changing of the human heart. So pray that God will work on their hearts and minds and speak to them. And you can share this verse with them. And the rest of the verses that I end up sharing, I came up with about 30 of them. So this list should last quite a while. Thank you for listening, and thank you for what you do to try to reach Jehovah's Witnesses and perhaps people of other high control religious groups. God bless you. Take care.